Imagine growing up in a neighborhood where every choice could send you to prison, where loyalty to family and ambition for power constantly clash. Raising Kanan Season 5 doesn't just end with arrest, it ends with a warning. In the streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens, no one gets away. By the finale, Kanan and everyone around him are behind bars. But the story isn't just fiction, it's a mirror of real life. The streets don't forgive mistakes, and the consequences are brutal. The rise, the betrayal, and the fall of Kanan's world show us how ambition, family, and the harsh realities of street life collide in ways you can't ignore. Southside Jamaica, Queens in the early 1990s was a neighborhood full of life. But it was also a place where danger lurked in every corner. Families lived close together, streets were busy with kids playing and people hustling. But under the surface, a different world existed. Crime was everywhere, drugs were part of life, and young men and women were forced to grow up fast. For Kanan, this world wasn't just background, it was his entire life. From a young age, he saw his family involved in the drug trade, dealing with people who could help them rise or destroy them in a second. Loyalty wasn't just an expectation, it was survival. Every deal, every move in the streets carried risk, and every mistake could cost more than money. It could cost freedom or even life. Kanan's family was central to this world. His father, Marvin, was a man with power and influence, but he demanded respect and results. Kanan grew up learning the rules, but he also saw the harsh consequences when someone stepped out of line. Friends turned into enemies overnight, alliances were fragile, and betrayal could come from the people you trusted most. The streets didn't forgive weakness, and anyone who tried to rise quickly had to be smart, ruthless, and careful. Kanan was ambitious. He wanted power, money, and respect, but every choice he made drew him deeper into danger. What started as small hustles and local influence quickly escalated into major conflicts with other crews, rival families, and law enforcement. Season 5 shows the climax of this struggle. Kanan isn't just facing his rivals, he's facing the law, family tensions, and the consequences of his own decisions. Every character in the story reflects the pressures of growing up in a tough neighborhood. Friends get caught in crossfires, family members are forced to choose between loyalty and survival, and Kanan's ambition becomes both his greatest strength and his ultimate weakness. The streets of Southside Jamaica don't allow second chances. By the time the finale arrives, every decision Kanan made, every betrayal he participated in, and every risk he took comes back to him. The prison cells at the end of Season 5 aren't just punishment, they are the inevitable result of a world where crime, power, and family collide in dangerous ways. The reality is even harsher than fiction. Southside Jamaica, Queens really had neighborhoods where young people grew up fast, learning lessons the hard way. Crime, drugs, and poverty shaped lives, forcing people to make impossible choices. The story of Kanan mirrors this world, showing how ambition can lead to power, but also to downfall. The finale, with everyone in prison, captures this truth. It's not just drama, it's a warning. The streets take everything if you're not careful. For Kanan, Season 5 is the moment when ambition meets consequence, showing us the dark reality behind the flashy power, money, and street respect that drives so many to risk it all. By the time Season 5 unfolds, Kanan has already built his name in Southside Jamaica, Queens. He's not a kid anymore, he's someone everyone watches, someone whose moves matter, and whose mistakes are magnified. Kanan's rise isn't overnight. It's the result of years of learning the streets, watching his father, and understanding the delicate balance between power and loyalty. Every decision he makes has ripple effects. Every ally is also a potential threat. Every friend could be a betrayal waiting to happen. In the show, viewers see Kanan navigating a complex web of family expectations, rival crews, and law enforcement pressure. Behind the flashy lifestyle and street respect is constant stress, because one misstep could undo everything he's worked for. Kanan's ambition drives him to take bigger risks. He wants to be more than just his father's son, he wants to control his own empire. But with that ambition comes danger. He starts making alliances that seem smart at the time, but turn deadly later. Deals are made in secret, betrayals are hidden behind smiles, and the streets are unforgiving for anyone who shows hesitation or weakness. Every character around him is facing similar pressures. Friends who were loyal in earlier seasons start questioning their loyalty. Rivals see weaknesses and push to exploit them. Even the law is closing in, tracking patterns, observing movements, waiting for the moment to strike. The tension grows, building toward a finale that feels inevitable. Season 5 takes this tension to the next level. Kanan isn't just maneuvering around street rivals anymore, he's facing law enforcement that has been watching him for months, if not years. Surveillance, informants, and sting operations mean every decision he makes could land him behind bars. In parallel, family pressures mount. His father and other family members have their own secrets, loyalties, and fears, and Kanan often has to navigate conflicting interests. Choices that once seemed small, like making a deal with a rival crew or trusting a certain friend, now carry the weight of life-altering consequences. This series carefully shows how ambition, pride, and the desire for control can lead even the smartest players into traps they can't escape. The arrests in Season 5 are not random, they are a culmination of years of risky decisions. Each character's fate reflects the law of cause and effect. Kanan's father, Marvin, represents the older generation who made similar mistakes and learned the hard way. For Kanan, learning from these lessons comes too late. The writers emphasize that the streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens operate on a harsh principle. Every choice has a cost. Friends who tried to rise alongside Kanan fall because they misjudged loyalty, underestimated rivals, or ignored the consequences of their actions. Each arrest, each betrayal, and each failed alliance pushes the story toward the finale where prison is not just punishment, it's the logical outcome of years of decisions made under pressure. In a world that leaves no room for error, even though the show dramatizes events, it captures a truth about life in neighborhoods like Southside Jamaica. Young people are forced to grow up fast, often choosing between ambition, survival, and loyalty. Kanan's story is a reflection of this reality. By the time Season 5 ends, the audience sees that the prison doors don't just symbolize punishment, they symbolize the end of a cycle that started long before the first episode. Every character who ends up behind bars is a cautionary example. Ambition and loyalty are not enough to protect you when the streets are watching and law enforcement is ready to act. The finale doesn't just shock viewers, it resonates because it mirrors real-life consequences in a world where choices are never simple. And power is always temporary. The season's conclusion is the natural endpoint of Kanan's rise. It's not just about drama or spectacle, it's about showing the cost of living in a world where the stakes are life, freedom, and family. Each arrest reminds viewers that even the smartest, strongest, or most loyal people can fall if they misjudge danger or trust the wrong person. For Kanan and those around him, the streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens were both home and trap. Season 5 makes it clear. In a world ruled by ambition, loyalty, and risk, prison is not the exception, it's the expectation. Every step, every deal, every choice led to this ending, showing the reality behind the story and why no one escapes the consequences of their actions. By the time Season 5 reaches its finale, the tension that has been building across all the previous seasons explodes into a series of events that leave no one untouched. Kanan's world, once full of ambition and control, collapses under the weight of bad decisions, betrayals, and law enforcement pressure. Each character's downfall is carefully orchestrated, and the writers make it clear that prison is not punishment alone, it is the inevitable outcome of living in a world where every choice has consequences. The streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens may have offered opportunity, but they also demanded accountability, often in the harshest way. Kanan's rise, his father's influence, and the network of allies and rivals all collide, showing viewers that no one escapes when the game is played at this level. Kanan's personal mistakes are central to the finale. Over the course of the season, He takes risks that once seemed manageable, such as forming alliances with questionable crews or ignoring warning signs from people he trusted. These decisions slowly close the net around him. The audience sees the law closing in as informants provide crucial information, surveillance tracks movement, and rival crews manipulate situations to push Kanan and his family into exposure. Every betrayal that Kanan either participates in or fails to prevent strengthens the case against him and his associates. His father, Marvin, who was once untouchable in his own era, is also caught in the storm. Years of power and influence cannot shield them when ambition clashes with reality. By the time the arrests occur, the audience understands that every action from previous episodes has led directly to this moment, making the prison ending feel both shocking and unavoidable.